it will.
Yeah, take us out of the recession and then make our economy thrive.
Then we start eating what we produce and producing what we eat.
Or planting what we eat, and then, how is it said? So,
Well, but I want to talk about myself.
yeah.
I think it was a good one. The fact that it was done, a plan, because growing up, in primary school, secondary school, we were taught about the rolling plans of the country, the development plans. But these days, we don't hear about them anymore.
Well, no, those ones were never implemented. That's always been the problem, the bane of Nigeria. Good policies, but no implementation. But, regardless of it, whether anybody will want to say this, outright, or some people just like to keep it hush-hush, I feel a little bit confident in this economic plan because it was midwifed by the vice president. And
his team.
Yes, and this in any way does not, take away from Mr. President, who's the head of this team. But you've heard people who've worked with him, like Obasanjo, saying openly that he's weak in the area of economy. So, I am a little bit confident that this was headed by the vice president, and I'm sure that, I haven't taken time to go through all the details. There are about 60 sectors, were broken down into the 3 different areas. I've not taken time to look at everything, but from what I've read already, and I think that we might be heading somewhere.
I have a lot of optimism, very optimistic, and I think that we also have to add some prayer. Nigerians believe in a lot of prayer, so we need to pray that those that will run it will not allow it go the way of other plans.
Yes.
So those are the things we're focusing on today. Are we taking a break?
Yes, maybe we should just go straight to invite Sam KARGBO and Chief Joshua ALOBO so that we can commence our discussion on the anti-corruption fight.
Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Chief ALOBO.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Well, you heard our little intro. We didn't want to say much because we knew you were here already and you'd like to educate us. When we are talking about is the government losing the anti-corruption war, of course, we cited the example of the court losses. But then, over the past 2 weeks or thereabout, we've continued on this program to talk about the fight between the legislature and the executive, individualizing the fight, allowing ego to come in, personalizing the fight. So let me start with you, KARGBO. Do you even agree with us that the federal government seems to be losing the fight?
Well, I would say that it's facing challenges, there are setbacks, but let me put it this way. The fight is a continuous process, and coming to the setbacks which has had recently, to me as a lawyer, I'm not bothered about that because I know what the process is, and I know this sort of steps that they need to take to push back the setback. But let me put it this way, and perhaps make a little bit of education on how our judicial process works. At the court of first instance, that is the trial court, you could have your day, but the appellate courts are there to have a review of the entire process again. And sometimes you could win at the court of first instance, win at the court of appeal, but the Supreme Court will say no. The person who had been the loser in these 2 courts was all the time right. So as a lawyer, when you have that kind of a setback at the trial court, don't be bothered. Go back to the books, do your homework, take the matter to the Court of Appeal. It is only after the matter has gone to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court upholds the findings and judgment of the trial court that you would say, oh, you've lost. Some of us are aware, or we have knowledge of the case of the former chairman of the PDP.
Yes.
You understand? He lost at the Court of First Instance, the trial, Court of Appeal, but the Supreme Court said no. You understand? So let's do be bothered. Yes, we should be concerned when such high-profile cases are having this sort of setbacks. But we shouldn't be rushing into judgment to make it look like the government is losing the fight. No, it's a continuous process. You understand? And if for anything, it's even a chance for us to take a little bit of a closer look at the process itself. Because, but for this judgment, we shouldn't have been discussing this. But the more we talk about this, the more we bring the people closer to the fight itself. You understand? And if for anything too, the more of these setbacks that the EFCC or the Office of the Attorney General, because if you ask me, that is his job, the more of this setback it has, the more is challenged or should be challenged to put his house in order and do a better job. So I wouldn't say that the government is losing the fight. Okay. I would only say that it's facing challenges that it has every reason and duty to address.
All right, Chief ALOBO, let's stay with this putting his house in order from what KARGBO said, that the government needs to go back also and put his house in order. We have seen over time, even before these judgments for last week, we have seen over time, the FCC, comes up and said, oh, this ex-governor has been arrested, he's been arraigned for a 253 counts of corruption, and then the case starts, and then the next thing you hear that it's been reduced to 200 counts, it's been reduced to 100 counts, reduced to 15 counts, and so how does the legal process? I mean, I want to believe that even the anti-corruption agencies have legal department that is robust. How do we get to a point where judges? I mean, you have seen it openly. Judges lambasting anti-corruption.
The prosecutors.
Yes, of not doing their jobs properly and letting a lot of people go on technicalities. How does that happen?
Oh. First and foremost, before answering that question, we are from the background of this discussion. Those 4 cases we must analyze and appreciate that actually it's only one case that should be discussed. Because that of ALOBO, it was based on the exercise of the Attorney General discretion to withdraw the charge. So it was not based on a merit that he just won that particular case. It was on the ICPC. Then when you look at the
ministry was advised. The ministry was advised with evidence,
yes, sir,
to say that, look, this case will definitely be flawed. For one, the investigating officers did not even take statement in writing. And part of the processes for filing that case was that those court papers must be submitted with Orubebe's statement, written statement, which they did not obtain.
No, apart from that, even there, if you look at the other dimension to the issue, even the alleged fund that was missing was discovered that it was still warehousing. There's no any evidence that it has been taken. That's why I say if you look at it, it's quite technical. It's not just the statement alone, because in the course of investigation, investigation, like my learned friend has said, is a continual process. You may discover that AYZ has taken SY sum of money, but in the course of other finding or investigation, you discover that that is not the true position of fact. Even though the ICPC lawyer did not predicate the withdrawal upon the advice of Attorney General, that is one ambit. Then if you look at the Ozokome issues, because the argument that was canvassed, is a professional, as a lawyer, that you have done your service and somebody has paying you your legal fee, you cannot deem me to be a proceed of fraud. So the money initially was frozen for 120 days, but when the other evidence was before the court and said that SYZ Ozokome has handled close to 8 cases, and that particular money that was alleged to have been frozen, there was nothing in that account. It was less than 25,000 on a good authority. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that if, for instance, the essence of exercising investigative or prosecutory power and you discover that the right step has not been taken, you'll be flopped. At the end of the day, you think that the anti-corruption war is having setback, like in the impatient issues. She was not a party to the proceeding when her account was frozen. So based on those arguments that was canvassed before the court, because you cannot make an order that will be binding on somebody who is not a party to a suit.
Yes.
No, I'm just trying to.
Let us try to get exactly what I'm trying to focus on.
Yeah.
You know, earlier when President Buhari came into office and said, look, anti-corruption will be my thing.
Yes,
I'm going to fight for it. Immediately commenced. One of the first things he also said was that, look, the judiciary is my headache with the anti-corruption fight. Now, when you talk about this, but there are people who have said before and accused even the legal department of those anti-corruption agencies of deliberately doing certain things that would, make some cases completely flawed. You were talking about the Patience Jonathan's case now. What kind of legal advice makes her, to be made a party to the case? Is it that the lawyers in those agencies do not even understand the processes of law in the first place?
It's not necessarily not knowing the process of law as it were, but you see, there can be an overzealous action in the course of trying to please the masses that you are doing a particular act. We must appreciate that fact. Because if a wrong step has been taken and the aggrieved party happen now to seek remedy or challenge the action, there's no way that the court will turn blind eye. So in that instance, you will not blame the court, be an albatross to the anti-corruption crusade. Even though the court has their own role, like one of my learned friends have said, especially in the case of Ademola, because if you look at that ruling, we are not here to pontificate or to address the merit of that judgment, but that is not the end, because you cannot say that somebody have alleged that there's 30 million in an account, and the person that made the payment has agreed, and you say there's no prima facie case, and you just dismiss the action on no case submission. It made the whole system laughable. And
Okay.
It's not to the party or anti-corruption crusade, but to us as in Nigeria.
Okay. What has come out is that a lot of shoddy jobs are being done by those that are supposed to do the proper job. But let's move away a little bit. Is there any insinuation that the judiciary may be working against the anti-corruption war, especially with the recent, in quotes, harassment of top officials of the judiciary?
I'll be cautious and try not to hold that conclusion. I would also not dismiss such fears and such concerns from people who are fighting the
No,
corruption.
because why just to,
Yeah.
the Ademola case,
Yes.
you heard what
You
he
see,
said?
at this point,
You know.
and for this platform, it would not be auspicious for us to go into the merit of the case.
Okay.
You understand? Because it's even discourteous to the entire system for us to start analyzing the merit of the case.
Okay.
Let us just.
But
I'm coming. I'm
Yeah.
coming. You see, even if you allow me, you alluded to what I would call that supermarket mentality, whereby you want everything on the shelf. Why would you need 200, 300 charges against one person when at the end of the day, even if all those charges are upheld, the punishment, you understand, would be zeroed on one. You
concurrently,
understand?
yeah.
So why not look for one solid, unimpeachable charge?
Whether
You
there are one
understand?
or two.
And expend your energy on it instead of having everything together. But let us also come to the entire process itself. You see, criminal trials are not like civil trials. Under civil trials, what the judge will be looking at is the preponderance of the evidence, the weight. You understand? For and against the parties. But here, you that would allege that somebody has committed a crime, you have the onerous duty of proving beyond reasonable doubt. That is a very onerous job. And that is why the job of prosecution should be taken so seriously that it is not just one you jump at in order to fill a gap, the yawning between public expectations and your office. No, take your time. Because at the end of the day, it is not so much how many cases that you have prosecuted that matters, but how many you have conclusively prosecuted and won. You understand? In fact, in America, they judge you and your profile in the profession is judged by how many convictions you've made. You understand? So you find them being very, very cautious. They don't just wake up in the morning and make their charges. You understand? Mind you, criminals are very smart people because right from the beginning of committing the crime, they are already anticipating the law and they are trying to covering their tracks. So if it is your job to prosecute them, make sure that you take your time and get very concrete and very unimputable evidence to prosecute your case. You understand? But I am not saying in this case that is the issue. What I am saying for now, let us don't be quick to say that the government is losing. No. If for anything, we should be happy that these things are happening because on both sides, you understand, now this judgment are satisfying those on the side of the divide that are saying, oh, these people are being victimized. And they are putting the other side of the divide that say these people were on their toes. So that rhythm in itself is part of the content that we need in the fight against corruption.
But for people who say that there is some witch hunting going on,
yes,
and let us take the Justice Ademola case now.
Yes.
You know, he was also charged for illegal possession of arms, for which he has a license that has expired. Was it necessary? I mean, I have a driver's license that got expired last year. It took me about 2 weeks after it got expired to go to the road safety office to fix it. You know, at that time I was stopped by one of the policemen and he said, look, I've been out of the country. I just came back. I will definitely do it tomorrow. This man has a license, but it's expired. Was it necessary to include that to prove that he was corrupt?
No, I would. If you ask me personally, I would not include it. You understand? But I'm not here to judge that discretion. You understand? But what I'm concerned about is making sure that I'm passing the message across that prosecution is a very serious business, and it's at the bottom and the foundation of the fight against corruption. Because no matter the investigation, no matter what you do, if you cannot get convictions, you are not going anywhere. Nowhere. You understand? So there shouldn't be no sort of, what would I say, management in the ordinary parlance. Money shouldn't be an issue. Why should we allow and go into a fight whereby the accused persons are having the best of lawyers on their side? You understand? And mind you, when they go before, I personally as a lawyer, I've suffered that. You have 11 senior advocates on the other side, and here you are, a KARGBO. Do you know the psychology of it? They egg on the judge, give the judge the impression that they are right. You understand? Yeah. And the judge, as a human being, could easily be swayed by their own oratory powers or whatever it is, overbearing nature. But if you have 11 sons here and 11 sons on this other side, the fight would look even. I've watched many a times, the sort of, you would even see the post-process or the post-sittings, the interviews, where you have the prosecution lawyer very ebullient, you see some quiet, very timid prosecutor just saying it there without actually convincing the people that actually he knows what he's doing. I'm not saying that is going to sway the judges, but psychologically, it has its own impact. Many times when we go there, you see all the big lawyers are on the side of the prosecutor.
Of the accusers.
Of the accused. And you only see people from the ministry coming to face them. You understand? At that trial level, where you have only one judge who may not have had the exposure and experience of sifting through the drama and going into the merit, you may have this sort of judgment.
No.
But it is only when it goes to the appellate court that you see people who are 30, 40 years, they've seen this all. You cannot intimidate them. You understand? And that is where I am having the confidence that all is not lost, because in any case, the same case as presented at the trial court would also be reviewed at the appellate court.
Okay, let's move on. I mean, you have summarized what the challenges are. We have to do more in ensuring that we prosecute well. Hire good lawyers, be sure of what you're putting on the table, be sure of what the accusations are and all that. As lawyers, if you have the authority to chart a roadmap for prosecution of anti-corruption cases, what will you tell the lawyers that you're going to engage?
No, I think the message shouldn't be to the lawyers. It's to the Office of the Attorney General. Mind you, irrespective of whoever is prosecuting everywhere, it's the job of the Office of the Attorney General or the Federation.
But the EFCC appoint their own lawyers.
No, listen, it is his own job by virtue of Section 174 of the Constitution.
Okay.
You understand? He oversees what they are doing. He has the right, he has the power to take over their cases, and also has the power to give fiat to private lawyers to support or even prosecute. My point here is this: irrespective of who is involved, at the end of the day, the successes and failure of the fight against corruption would fall squarely on the table of the Attorney General. So he should spare no moment to ensure that he constitutes a very strong prosecution team. And in any case, if history would support him, before this government came into power, the legal profession was divided into two camps: those in support of PDP and those in support of APC. And we know ourselves in the profession. Let those who actually put out themselves to support the coming into government of this government be the people to champion this, because they believe in the urban issue, in the promises of Mr. President. That was why they put out themselves to support him without being paid. I can tell you, all of us who did the cases for the card reader, and all of us, not one single one of us was paid. We did it because we believe in the fight against corruption, and that this gentleman would actually fight corruption. You understand?
So are you suggesting that the briefs are being given to people that don't believe in the fight?
I am not saying so. I am saying you know them. Let it be part of their fight, because I can tell you for free, once you take up a prosecution case, it should be a 24-hour duty. You don't just take it as just one of those briefs, because it's a serious job. All that the defense has got to do is to have 1% of a doubt, and it's scot-free. So therefore, you should take all the precautionary steps to ensure that by the time you get to court, you will get conviction.
All right.
Right from the assessment of the evidence, right from you have an overview of the investigation itself. Take a look at the evidence and ensure that whatever evidence that you have would be admissible and would go to proving the ingredients of the charge.
Okay, Chief ALOBO, yeah.
Maybe he'll get the last word.
Yeah, your PhD, your doctoral thesis is on, anti-corruption. What would you do differently in this situation? And then finally also, the Urubebe case, definitely that is not going to the appellate because it's been withdrawn. Does the Nigerian government owe him an apology?
First and foremost, in criminal prosecution, once at the time of commencement of the trial, you feel that you have such allegation against him, and in exercising the prosecutory power, you charge him. And now the Attorney General, under Section 174(3), that have the power of entering nolle prosecute, have decided to advise otherwise. In such instance, it's not necessary apology that you owe him, as it were, because apology will not suffice. But at this time, if you look at the rejoicing of ALOBO, that God, Jehovah, has vindicated him, that he is sworn that he's not going to mess up himself and all those particular stuff. But this giving an apology will not resolve any issue, because you don't know, or me and you don't know, what might transpire in the exercise of that discretionary power.
Some plea bargain
behind and all those particular stuff. So because in exercise of that nolle prosecute, the Attorney General is the law over himself. Nobody can question his powers. That is why the ICPC lawyer said that the withdrawal was not predicated on the advice of the Attorney General. So if that being the case, there's no way you will say that the federal government should apologize to ALOBO. But I think what we should look in this fight against corruption is that the Office of Attorney General have to sit up. Because there is information at the public domain that there is a prosecutory team that have been set up. And up till now, we have not seen the team being working as it were, because even the case of Justice Okuta in the Federal High Court, we know how the former prosecutor have to withdraw from the case. Then before another person in the Attorney General office was reassigned the case. So those teams that they say they have set up has to come up smoking, because if we cannot say that corruption is fighting back when you have not actually set up your when you have not really put in your best 11 in the fight against corruption, because there are a lot of senior advocates that are experienced, that are in the defense team. They should not just be there as an ornament of decoration. They should be able to put their circumcise the evidence that they have and look at the one that will actually prove the allegation, because it's not a matter of having 15 or 20 charges that matter. If you can prove only 2 can't charge and you charge the person, it suffices. So in fighting this anti-corruption crusade, the federal government must know that it's not that the masses are against them, as it were, because if you look at the opinion, as if some persons are rejoicing that why was a Buhari lawyer not charged for the offering of 500 or paying 500,000 to the account of the Justice Ademola, and somebody that paid 30 million. I said, those, in as much as the Kola Awadi was not a party to the suit, that is immaterial, because it's not even the evidence that will be able to tell the court whether that 30 million is a proceed of crime or not. It's not. It's against the rule of evidence, because once there's evidence that payment have been made, and at that point there's a need for the accused person, whether it's a justice or not, to give explanation. That is why, even if the judge has decided discretion at the final hearing of that matter, it will pacify some of us. But when you have alleged that there's a hardcore evidence that there's payment of 30 million, and you are saying that there's no prima facie case,
anyway,
it defeats the whole essence.
Advises that we should
no, I'm just trying to talk about the final word of fighting the corruption. It shows that the whole gamut of the society, right from the legislature. You see, the legislature, if you look at what happened to Dume, it shows that we're not ready in fighting corruption. Somebody brought a motion based on what is in public domain, and you set up an ethics committee to investigate, and after investigation, it must go one way or the other. And all of a sudden, you suspend the senator for moving that motion.
Anyway.
At the end of, you see, before we did the forward of corruption.
It's okay. I think we have to thank them for coming on the show. Like I always say when we are talking about corruption, it's not a one program issue.
Yes, sir.
It's something that we have to talk and talk and talk. Chief ALOBO, thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
KARGBO, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And we hope you'll be here again when we think there's something you really need to talk about.
We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we talk about the new economic recovery and growth plan for Nigeria. Don't go away.
Watching Nigeria's biggest late night show.
Without him enjoying his 90 days, he did all that within 2 days. Yet, INEC didn't
Okay, let me ask this question so that you
Please.
No, I want this, please.
No,
Let me-
it's not everything that the president goes to everywhere prognosing. In Agatu area you're talking about, the president put up a special presidential panel. How can the executive come and give us the rule that regulates our conduct within the National Assembly? That is interference.
For us to get the real budget as presented by Mr. President with the corrections, go through the budget process, pass it so that things will start moving.
The name of the immediate past president owns a plot on the Metama Hill. Desiani Alice Maduike owns a plot on the Metama Hills. Then companies were also used to cover the faces of some individuals and Nigerians.
And the Attorney General, by virtue of his position, he is the only minister given such immense powers created in the Constitution by Section 150. Now, that kind of person should be careful when exercising those powers.
I am a proud Igbo woman and a proud Nigerian, and I have served this country. I love this country. Come to think of it, I'm not married to an Igbo man. I married a Yoruba Muslim.
I saw Bomali bedroom. Many people don't know that. You know, Bomali is like Elijah. I'm Elisha.
You're still watching the O&M Sunday show. Now, we talk about the Nigerian economy and the new economic growth and recovery plan. To do justice to that, we have Dr. A.K. Chukwemeka A.K. from the University of Abuja.
And we have Odilim Enwebara, development economist. They're here, and they are joining us right away. You're welcome.
Welcome.
Dr. Ike, your bets are getting whiter. I mean, why? Okay, gentlemen. Just on Wednesday, the federal government rolled out a plan. Yes, a lot of people welcomed it. Some say, as usual, nothing will come out of it. But let's go to the basics, you know. Dr. Eke, can you summarize for us what this whole economic plan is all about?
Aside from the fact that it's meant to restore hope, what I read, it's to take us back to the growth path. Ambitious 7% by 2020, and then to get the economy working. That's just what I think it's all about.
That's a summary.
That's a summary.
How do you summarize it?
I don't think I need to summarize it. I think I have to tell you what I think about the plan, because summary doesn't make sense to me. And let me point out this before I continue. You people have already made their conclusion that it's a beautiful plan. So I became a bit careful. No. You see, I have a platform. People already sending me, it's a beautiful plan. So we're expecting you to. This is the issue. When Jonathan was running the government, I was critical of the fiscal authorities. And everybody was fighting me. You heard this person here. I was pointing out that what we are doing is we are spending a lot of money on recurrent, and we are not taking care of capital. Eventually, the economy went to wait. We spent $501 billion in revenue from oil, and after that, we accumulated debt that this government is dealing with. Today, I am critical, and people are saying, Odilin, what is wrong? What is wrong is because I'm not a blind man. I see things far away than ordinary man. And I point out those things because I love this country. Look, what do you think it benefits me to criticize government? If I marry this government, they become my friend, I get contract. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it because I love this country. I want my children and my grandchildren to inherit a better country. But when you do that, people say, you hate government. What you do? I'm not into politics. I don't hate Buhari. In fact...
So you don't believe in this plan?
No, the plan, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry.
So why doesn't it make sense to you?
Because in architecture, when an architect draws a plan, what is the next? Is to send it to quantity surveyor, to bill of quantities. The bill of quantities, when the bill of quantities come out, it shows whether it is
possible to be built because the bill of quantity will tell you the amount you need. There's no funding or financing plan attached to all these things. Look, let me tell you. I'm sorry, I don't hate anybody, but let me tell you.
So there's no BOQ.
This can be generated by computer. Let me tell you what these people did. I'm sorry to tell you this. Computer can generate this thing without even within a few minutes. Let's be serious. We are talking about elementary economics. As far back as 1489, King Henry VII designed a British economic plan that led Britain to eventually to become the first industrial economy in the world. By 1792, Alexander Hamilton came up with a comprehensive economic plan, the industrialization strategy. And then the famous economist, Adam Smith, said this man didn't know what he was talking about. The man said, I don't need you to tell me how to develop my country's economy. Our plan is not pro-growth and pro-development. Our plan does not show us how do we block importation so that we increase export. But you see what they're saying? They're saying we are going to get a strong naira. You can't get a strong naira and stop importation. The essence of strong naira is to increase importation. Countries like United States and China are actually at war, what is called the currency war. They are perpetually devaluing their currency so that imported goods will be more expensive and the locally made goods will be cheaper, and not only locally, but externally. So what are you talking about? Sometimes I agree with Lamido Sanusi this time around. He asked, where are the economists? Where are the economists?
They are not there at all.
I don't.
No economic team.
I'm not saying there are no economic. The question is, where are the economists?
What happened is, like a prior discussion, I told you, you know, when the initial padding of the Naira-dollar market and Naira appreciated, and there were headlines that, it's going to get okay. You called me and I told you it's a waste of time. It's a short-run stuff and it's going to explode. And what happened? It's exploding. See, so long as...
At that time, you were still predicting that it will still get to 600.
It will still get...
He said 1,000.
I used to say 1,000.
1,000. It will get to 1,000. This is the reason.
And it's good for us.
See our economy, as it were. That is where I pick holes at the ERGP. Okay? If you check Yar'Adua's 7-point agenda, in fact, the history of our development planning has been traumatic, to say the least. And then, secondly, we've missed opportunities. Now, Yar'Adua's 7-point agenda, Jonathan's transformation agenda, these things are, in quote, big projects, ambitious, that we don't have the funding capacity to pull through. Now, this is a problem. Let me zero in on Buhari's economic plan. I can't zero in on it without talking about this Naira-dollar issue. See, so long as we have power crisis, we have energy crisis, so long as our industries are going under, exporting jobs to Accra, exporting jobs to Lome, exporting jobs to even other countries. Now, there's this consumption-supply gap that is widening. It has to be filled. And how will you fill it? You have to import. Now, the pressure continues on our foreign exchange reserve. Our Naira will still go down. Now, let me come to the funding of this project. You know, I have said this over and over, that we seem to play to the gallery. Nigerians are not ready to face the fact. This is my first time I've been with him on this program. I've always watched him. And the funny thing is this. The truth is, we do not need large programs. Let's focus on power. Why? If Mr. President would stop shutting out private sector, his body language is anti-private sector. All his...
You've always accused him of contracting.
No, I told you now, yeah, Buarinomics. The day he was declared as winner, I put up an article and I warned the whole world that this guy is physically conservative. There's no, you can't, he will not change. So we are suffering that effect. You know, I came here again, I talked about the psychology of economics. It will still go on so long as he's there. I don't hate him, but I just speak the truth. But now, for this plan to work, for now, see, he has to open up. He's pursuing food security, one of the sub-agendas in the the broad three. He's pursuing infrastructure. Yes, good. He's pursuing agriculture. I'm sure he's focusing on cash crop. Those things are good. But hey, allow private sector run it. Turn your ministries, your agencies to facilitate private sector participation and optimization. You know, I sent you guys text that I believe government is listening to this program. Seriously. Because when I looked or listened to sister stations, nobody had the guts to talk about stopping the government from terrorizing these boys who are refining crude. I feel sympathy. You know, I sympathize with Rivers State, this reign of Sooth. But the point is that each time you militarize this approach to stopping local production, you are hurting our macroeconomics. Macroeconomics internationally runs on individual ingenuity, especially if it's a market system. Yes. If you're running a state system, a command economy, it can be top, bottom. But in this case, sirs, in this case, let him back out and let the private sector run the entire program. The only place that needs a Marshall plan.
Including the informal sector?
Pardon?
Including the informal sector.
Let the private sector run it. The only place that we need the government to come in, sirs, is power. Then, first of all, dismantle that big thing that Fashola is running with respect to him. Come on power. Let us start the issue of generation. Do you know what about Nigerians? Nigerians are industrial. Nigerians are innovative. Nigerians are hardworking. Give them 24 hours power supply. My brother, our GDP will improve. Our exchange rate would improve. The pressure on the reserve would be lifted.
I think God is getting impatient. He wants to.
The president says while launching this, recovery plan that he will pursue it with the same vigor, determination with which he's pursuing the anti-corruption fight. And that jolted me a little bit. If this is going to be like the anti-corruption fight, are we going to get anywhere?
Look, the president is the president. In 1962 or 61, Kennedy said, we must go to the space. He is supposed to make that statement and withdraw. You don't need to go into the mechanics and the details. Okay. That's what our president is supposed to do, and he has done that. But the problem, I continue to say is, my brother, it baffles me when you say you have an economic team, and it does not, what they shone out baffles you as an economist. Look, let me tell you, what he said, and I've been saying it time without number, to develop an economy is the simplest thing. But why do we make it complex and difficult? I don't understand. Look, what do we need to do as a country? You don't need these big plans. I submitted to this government, 2016 February, a roadmap, economic growth and development roadmap. I gave it free. I'm telling you the truth. If they say it's not true, I'll show you how I sent it to them. I said, look, go into monetary policy and adjust the monetary policy in a way that you make it difficult for people to access the dollar who are importing finished goods. Make it more easier for those who are accessing dollar for plant and equipment. Because WTO can make it difficult for you to ban goods, but you can go through the back door. What you need to do is to make sure that if you access dollar unofficially, when you bring the goods, we ask you the source of dollars. We can say it is an illegal, it is an illicit dollar you are using. And as a result, we actually seize their goods. This we encourage because Nigeria is a big market. If a Chinese discovers that he cannot import into Nigeria, he will relocate his factory to Nigeria. That is a simple economics. Now you go into issues of dealing with the rail sector, which is, if you want the economy to become competitive, you make sure you invest in infrastructure, because the lower the cost of infrastructure on production, the lower cost of production. Exactly. So that is simple economics. And I gave them the plan. I said, just start this plan one after. In fact, there are so many things I put in that plan that if government do 5 of these things, the country will improve. But they ignored it. But I'm waiting for them to use any of them any day. I will sue them, as I'm suing them for using my.
No, but you gave them. You gave them.
No. I didn't give them free. No, I gave them that. No. There are two things that will happen. If you have to use that, you must mention all the owns it. But you cannot now use it and announce it like the fiscal sunshine bill, sunshine software I submitted to the Minister of Finance, and they called it one box in suite. I'm suing them for that because you cannot, after meeting with you, what you would have done is to involve me in that, or now openly say, Odilme Ambara is the originator of this. That is enough for me, but you cannot use the idea because I gave it to you. I did not give it to you because it's free. I gave it to you so that you mention my name or you bring me on board. Because that's the only way I become a consultant. But be it as it may, government must focus on power. If I were this government, I would not focus on any other thing. I focus on power and road network. Look, China generates 1.4 million megawatts of electricity. 50% is from coal. South Africa generates about 51,000 megawatts. 79% of it is from coal. And Nigeria is coal abundant. Why can't we?
Even the very developed United States of
It's
America.
even
Yes.
coal. Why can't we? South Africans
Canada,
South Africans are telling me they're ready to come here and help us get 20,000 megawatts from coal. But nobody is. If you go to the process, because I'm their friend, they will give you all the bureaucratic bottleneck that you just walk away. That is a country for us. This government doesn't need anything. They focus on power and they go into generation and transmission. You must go into, because China is 90% Chinese power generation and transmission is government owned.
This issue, we keep talking about it in Nigeria. Power.
Yes.
Power.
Yes.
Everything.
Because it's the game changer.
Yeah, it's the game changer. But it has remained
elusive.
An impossibility for Nigeria to go above 5,000 megawatts.
Yes.
They brought Fashola, who they said had the magic wand,
yes,
who shone so brightly in Lagos.
Yes.
Well, I say anybody will perform well in Lagos.
Yes.
You don't need that. But obviously,
yes,
Fashola has not been able to make any change,
yes,
in the power ministry.
Yes.
So what do we need to get it right?
No, the problem is that Nigeria has allowed itself to be taken over. The power sector has been taken over by some foreigners. If you know the mechanics, you will cry for this country. Nigeria is the major importer of generators, small generators. And in Britain, in China, and in Japan, and in India, they are all focusing on Nigeria. And everything must be due to make sure Nigeria doesn't generate enough to do away with the generators. Two, those who are supplying diesel for private use can undermine anything because they don't want to go out of business. So that's how government can, to overcome this thing or to block them, government will go into those areas that they cannot easily undermine, like coal. If you go into coal-fired power plants and build them, it will be difficult. The gas can be, they cut your gas pipeline. So you don't blame Fashola, but the only way I blame government has no power roadmap.
No, you still have to blame him.
No, that's why I'm blaming him. No. What I'm saying is
he should champion the coal.
What I'm saying is
where I come in, if I may. You know, there are two things here. There's a plan, how to fund the plan, right? Now, secondly, we've gone into the issue of power, which is the core infrastructure. The truth of the matter is that, I'm sorry, we've been running a generator economy for some time.
Exactly.
And it would continue if government continues to owe this discourse.
Yes.
So the first, I had said, Mr. Buhari, please focus on power. First thing, the first 30 days, clear all the debt you're owing discourse. Is in billions, clear it. That's the first. Pump that money. I'm not saying bring in fresh funds first. Pump that money in. Federal government, state government, 30 days, martial order, pay all discourse. Number two, stop the use of generators. Just government only. This is extra macroeconomics now. Just ban the use of generators. Oh, they're not going to work. They will work.
Exactly.
After that, now you've paid discos. You've cleared them. You've banned generators. You've thrown them out. The next thing is discos, gencos provide power.
Exactly.
You will see a turnaround.
We remove you from business.
This issue of cabal, no cabal, it's annoying. There is no cabal in presidency.
Gentlemen, let me just ask one more question so that we can end it.
Yes.
Okay.
You have come with good ideas, but it doesn't look like the government will do an about turn just tomorrow morning and implement the plan both of you have, enunciated this afternoon. How can we make the best of the plan that the government has put on ground?
First, government must look for funding. Government will reduce its plan to few things it can manage. And stop being very wide, trying to be politically correct. Focus on two things and look for funding. we can get money, sorry, just a minute. We can get funding if we have a comprehensive plan of how to generate. We're asking to generate about 30,000 megawatts. We ask countries, can you help us? We show them the plan, how they can recover their investment. I will tell you that Chinese will come here and invest and get us 30,000
Okay, Dr. Ake, just now one sentence or two.
In a sentence, to get this ERGP working, what the government needs to do, okay? They've launched the policy, it's okay. Just narrow yourself to power. And then, please, pay DISCOs. Get GENCOs and DISCOs on board to provide power. The rest.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Well, we keep on hoping that somehow, as a nation, we can get it right. And we hope that this economic
plan.
Economic plan somehow, one way or another, the government is listening. And they can turn this whole thing around and focus on power. We all need power desperately, for business, for everything. All right, we thank you so much, Odeleme Ogbara, Dr. Chukwuemeka Eke. Thank you so much. Obiora, I guess this is where we
draw
the curtain.
Thanks for watching. Once again, Mamode, happy birthday. And let's have some champagne. Yes, sir.
I was asking if there's going to be a cake here.
All right, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you again Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Bye-bye.
From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.